I'm Nathalie Pozzi, I'm an Italian architect.
I'm Eric Zimmerman, I'm a game designer.
Over the last 3 years, we have done a series of 5 projects together that overlap space design and game design.
All of the projects are actually games that you play in a festival or museum or gallery setting. They don't involve computers and technology, they're just physical games that people play with each other in these spaces.
In Interference, which is a project here in Los Angeles, what you believe is your play area, it's very soon disrupted and taken over by other players.
The twist of the game is that each turn you actually take a piece from someone else's game and you bring it into your game. And so as you're playing, people are interfering in your game, and that's where the title of the piece comes from, Interference. As the game proceeds, it's very chaotic, and you realize that you have to start negotiating with these other people.
It's frustrating not to have control of what you are expecting to be in full control of. And I think that's what we're playing with Interference. The idea of interference was, although it's very abstract and people think it as very beautiful, but the original idea was almost like having a section of an organ being cut.
The appearance of interference looking so organic, like cells in a cross-section, for me is a sort of metaphor for the social, because you quickly realize that your little local system really has to depend on all the other systems that are going on, for better or for worse.
When I first started working with Eric, I know very little about game design, but I kept hearing analogies of game design and film. But what I was seeing in game design was instead, as in architecture, as a designer of the work, you could give very strong structure and define very strong limit from what was the tabula rasa that you start with. At the same time, you have no control of what the inhabitant of a space or what the player of a game will do while they would enter the structure that you designed. So I always thought that the analogy of game design and architecture has so many strong elements in common. One of which too is game are fundamentally mathematical, and a game can be broken. A game can just not work when at its base the mathematical structure is broken. And so does architecture. So again, compared to literature and film, in which you can very much play with breaking the rules, there's a limit in architecture and game design in which you can disrupt the usual rules because the structure doesn't hold up otherwise. And I think in the project that we're doing together, in some way we're trying to push the limit of what you can break and what you can twist.
Working with Nathalie has changed the way I think about game design in many ways. I think that game designers often operate more like hackers. We throw things together and whatever works, works, and we find quick, fast, sort of down and dirty solutions to our design problems. Architects really are more like engineers than hackers in the sense that they really have to think long term. I mean, if a game isn't fun, no one's going to play it. But if a building is broken, people are going to die. There's kind of a seriousness to what architects do, and there's a rigor to which they approach their craft. Game designers often think, hey, how many players can I get in the next few months? Architects often think in terms of years and decades, or even longer. Nathalie has also really sensitized me to the limitations of my own thinking. As a game designer, I'm biased in the idea that rules are everything. But I think that in some of the works that we've done, there are spatial elements that aren't technically part of the rules, but as we've found, they are incredibly important in structuring the experience of play.